Hey Dev Nation, my name's Ryan. Today we're going to be taking a look at Charlie Munger's 4 rules for investing. These are pretty much just going to be the 4 rules that Charlie Munger actually uses to go ahead and see if he wants to actually make an investment within a specific company. If you guys get value out of today's video, please make sure to hit that like button and don't forget to subscribe and follow if you haven't already. It truly helps out the channel and I truly appreciate your support. So without further ado, let's get into the video. For those of you guys who might not know who Charlie Munger is, he is pretty much the right-hand man of the Oracle of Omaha himself, Warren Buffett. He is the reason for Berkshire Hathaway making investments of over billions of dollars, successful investments and successful returns on those investments within Berkshire Hathaway over the last many decades of being a part of that company. Taking a look at the actual 4 rules that Charlie Munger tries to follow when investing, it's going to be your circle of competence. Rule 2 is going to be your intrinsic and durable competitive advantage. Rule 3 is going to be management with integrity and talent. And Rule 4 is going to be pricing and margin of safety. So we're going to go ahead and pretty much break those down so we can get a better understanding of Charlie Munger's rules for his investment strategy. Circle of competence. Well, what is it? It's literally going to be an imaginary circle that you have to think about that represents your competence within the industry. So for example, let's imagine we have a lemonade stand industry. Let's say you're back to 10 years old and you realize, you know what, I've been raised here my entire life. I know all the other lemonade stands. I know there's a lemonade stand 3 blocks that way. I know there's a lemonade stand 5 blocks that way. And you know what? It's the summer, it's really hot. I know there's a great demand for it. You understand where the other competitors are and you know the actual area. You know how to set up an actual lemonade stand and manage and do all the operations. Therefore, you actually have a good and solid foundation and understanding of doing your lemonade stand industry. So you decide, you know what, because there's 1.5 that way and 3 blocks that way, I think this is enough distance to where there needs to be a lemonade stand here. And you actually have competence within that because you've built that knowledge and understanding within that specific industry. Now, obviously, that's a much simplified version, but the idea is the same. If you work in technology and you actually understand technology, you understand the competitors that are within that industry, and you understand what works and what doesn't. And vice versa, if it's an industry you don't understand, let's say you have no concept of technology, you don't really know how it works or anything like that, but you're solid with the lemonade stand, the lemonade stand will be inside your circle of competence, while the technology would be outside of your circle of competence, or pretty much your circle of understanding. Intrinsic and durable competitive advantage. Now, for any of you guys who are Warren Buffett fans, this is also going to be known as your moat. So what is a company's moat? You can think of this, let's say Coca-Cola compared to Joe's Cola. You know that sound that it makes when you go ahead and you crack it open, you hear that fuzzing and you drink it and you get that nice iconic taste that you know and love, as compared to, let's say, Joe's Cola, where you go ahead, you buy it, you crack it open, you hear the fuzzing, and then you go ahead and taste it and you realize it's not a taste you actually really love or enjoy. It's just not that iconic taste that you come to know and love. Well, this is known as the economic moat. You can think of this sort of like a branding over Joe's Cola. If Joe's Cola is worth $1 and Coca-Cola is worth $1, you bet your dollar you're gonna go ahead and use that dollar on Coca-Cola over Joe's Cola. It has that economic moat to pretty much outdo Joe's Cola. You can also think of this with Apple. Apple has their iPhones. That in itself is an economic moat. How many times have you decided, you know what, maybe I want to switch to Android, but because I have an iPhone and I have the MacBook and I have the whole ecosystem of Apple, you decide, you know what, I don't really want to switch to Android because that would be such a pain. That in itself is also another economic moat for Apple. So usually when you want to go ahead and invest in a company, at least for Charlie Munger, he makes sure that this company that he invests in has an economic moat. Now, I know one of his biggest investments is actually in Costco. And I used to think, you know, why would he invest in Costco? I mean, yeah, they're cool and whatnot, but do they really have an economic moat? But I'm telling you, every time you go to Costco, I mean, they're super customer service friendly and focused on the actual customer and consumer, providing the best value and the best customer service as possible. So they have this sort of economic moat. Plus they have their Costco card memberships, which again is another moat for that company. That's sort of a loyalty to that company. Now the next principle is going to be management with integrity and talent. When you go ahead and you invest in a company, you're investing in the overall team as well. And with the scandalous behavior, it's going to make the company look really bad and lose out on business. I mean, nobody wants to do business with jerks, right? And you also want to make sure, even if they are a good, solid person, that they actually do have some talent behind them. For example, if they're bringing in a new CEO that you know can actually go ahead and increase revenue, increase marketing, increase all these different statistics and awareness to the company and would be a solid fit for that company, it would make sense. I mean, you can think of it as Mark Zuckerberg with Facebook. Mark Zuckerberg is the ideal person to be running Facebook. He's been running it. I mean, he founded it back when it started, and he knows and continues to evolve in the technology and marketing industry of, Facebook, and he understands both technology as well as consumer behavior. So he's an ideal CEO for that company. Another example we could think about would be Steve Jobs with Apple. I mean, you think of Apple and you automatically think of Steve Jobs and how he helped create the iconic iPhone and how that really changed the world. But I bet you this, are you able to name the CEO that was at Apple before Steve Jobs came back? Probably not. You also want to take a look at their management style. You also want to take a look at if they're a founder of the company. For example, with Steve Jobs, he definitely has some skin in the game because that was his baby. He wanted to continue to have Apple grow and push the boundaries of what we see as technology and phones and computers. And he really wanted to continue pushing that. And he really cared for Apple as his own because he was the one that founded it. You also want to take a look at who the board of directors are, as they are the ones who control the overall management for that company. One last thing to look at is, even if perhaps they're not a founder of the company, is this a person who actually has some sort of ownership within the company? They have a little skin in the game. So if they're a new CEO of that company, did they go ahead and invest a fair amount of their net worth into the company because they truly do actually believe in that company and want to see it grow? Now, the last rule to Charlie Munger's rules for investing is going to be pricing and margin of safety. Now, on the technical side, these are going to be your numbers such as ROE, ROIC, as well as the big four numbers. The big four numbers are going to be net earnings, book value, sales, and operating cash. But aside from that, you don't want to pay any price for any company. Now, let's say you're a really big fan of Apple or Tesla or perhaps Microsoft. Now, even though they're all really great companies, you're not going to pay hundreds of thousands of dollars for that company if it's worth $100, right? It's like if you had a $100 bill, you wouldn't go ahead and pay $1,000 for that $100 bill. You want to go ahead and actually find a fair price for that company. Once you find a fair price, as in you know that this company is worth $100 per share, now you know the actual value of that company per share. You know that, hey, this $100 is actually worth $100. Then from there, you want to go ahead and take a look at the margin of safety. So this is going to be, you can imagine it sort of like your cushion of protection for in case you make any sort of investing mistakes. This will actually protect you from when you actually go ahead and buy into the company. So back to our $100, if we have $100, you want to go ahead and buy that $100 for $50. Now, obviously, instead of buying actual cash, you want to use your cash to buy into other companies, but the idea is the same. You want to find that a company's stock is worth, let's say, $100 per share and buy into the company's stock when it's, let's say, $50 per share. And so now the $100 that you know the company's valued at per share and the $50 that you decide to buy in at is going to be known as your margin of safety. That's going to be a 50% margin of safety. Again, this is just an extra cushion of protection to protect you in case the company decides to tank completely. You know that, hey, because I bought in at $50, I know I'm still getting a great value for the company in the long haul. Now, when it comes to the margin of safety, you can always change it from 50% to 25%, or from 50% to 75%, whatever you find is best for your investment strategy. But I found that 50% is a sweet spot for your margin of safety to go ahead and set up and say, hey, if it's $100 of value, let me go ahead and put a margin of safety of 50%, which means I buy it in at $50. The 4 rules to Charlie Munger's investing are your circle of competence, intrinsic and durable competitive advantage, management with integrity and talent, lastly, pricing and margin of safety. If you guys enjoyed today's video, please make sure to hit that like button. Don't forget to like, follow, subscribe, all that good stuff. I truly, truly appreciate your guys' support. Remember, it's a great day to have a great day, so have a great day. Thanks for watching.